Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 7th, 2021 at approximately 6:44 a.m. PST. To say the least, we're getting back into a track, or at least we're doing our best to get back into a track of getting things up and running properly. Now, this said, we were working on the Yldrbac Chronicles yesterday, that major project I've been working on, and I've got the back panel designed. Because the thing with the Yldrbac Chronicles is when you take all of the back covers and you line them up properly once they're all out, they form one picture. Well, we designed the entire back panel that is going to be comprised of those. And net result is we'll be talking to our artist to get that all organized. Again, this really boils down to having a project, having a project in mind and figuring out how to do it, how to deal with it. And that's where that list comes in. Now, you know what the really sad part is? This is what I'm drinking right now. This is coffee. But if I go back 30 years, this was rye. Which gives you an idea how much I was drinking. Way too much, by the way. Some people say they used to that they drank their fair share of alcohol. I drank way more than my fair share. But that's okay. I don't anymore. As a matter of fact, I have one drink every one or two drinks a year. Usually that means New Year's Eve. Well, New Year's Eve I'll have one. And sometimes there are two other days that I may have one. Well, I guess technically there's three. Although I don't recall the last time I had it on all 3 days. I know, like, normally it boils down to this. I don't drink, not to speak of. Right? But if you've got a project that you've been putting off, now is the time to get started back on it. Whether that's organizing your house, whether it's writing a novel that you've been thinking of or that you've already started, whether it's starting to build up your ability. I was talking to somebody the other day that would really like to get into professional acrobatics. Now, I will tell you this. From my standpoint, she's got a lot of work ahead of her because she's about 100 pounds overweight. Now, that being said, or as one person put it, she's not overweight, she's just under tall. She should have been 7.5, not 4.5. But she's got a lot of work, and like I told her, that's not a problem, but you're going to have to work, and you've got a lot of work to do. So do it one step at a time. Okay. Now, the way I figure it, I've turned around and I've managed to get my body working better than it has in years. I thought it was actually putting on weight. And when I weighed myself just a couple of days ago, I was down again. Because I had risen a little. But take whatever project that you have, get it laid out. I've got this over on my painting section over here. I've got this massive amount of figures laid out. And I'm going through them. I did a count the other day. What do we got here? I've got 350, 362 that I counted, and I've got a bunch of new ones coming in and that are sitting right here. I haven't added yet. So, you take your project, whatever it is, hopefully you've already got your office worked out. My office is set up quite nicely right now, where I've got my painting station over on that desk, and over on this one, I've got my writing station, and of course my coffee. Now, I do have to work things out a bit because I'm having some real fun trying to figure out how I'm doing things, but what the heck? I actually need to get a table for my keyboard because I don't the laptop that I got does not have a good keyboard on it. Like, I can't feel the edge of it. So that makes writing it or using it a little difficult. You can't type by feel if you can't feel the keyboard. Just stands to reason. But get your section set up so that you've got so that from an energy standpoint, your office is working. Because, like I said, that is the backbone that makes everything possible. Oh, one quick thing. If you like our video, absolutely give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel to make certain that you get the alerts on the rest of to get the information on the next one's coming up. And don't forget to ring that little alert bell to let you know when they come up. Because much as I do my best to bring them out once a day, that doesn't always work for me. Just curious, I'm looking at my YouTube channel right now. And yeah, nothing that I've got to worry about yet. If you've got any questions and comments, absolutely leave them below. If you've got questions or topics you would like to hear covered, just ask. Doesn't matter whether it's a personal concern. If it's too private, drop me a line at one of the contact points below this video. But whether it's a personal question, a business question, or a reference regarding aliens or UFOs, that sort of thing, I cover all of it. I've been doing it for 48 years now. 48 and a half, really, but that's okay. So absolutely drop me a line below. Whether you drop me a line in the comments or you drop me a line directly, either way I will do my best to answer it as quick as I can. Okay. Do I put I'll answer it within X number of days? No. I do that when people order a book from me, I'll go within 3 business days. I'll have it into the mail on its way to you. But that's a whole different ballgame. So you get your office working, get the energy set out the way that you require it. Okay, so you can work at it. Like for instance, I've got my computer right here. I've got my writing table here, and I am working on my left hand writing to make it more effective. Because the reality is, if I don't have to turn over there, I won't. But for the moment, I still do. Okay, but that's something I'm working on. The nice part about this whole idea, I'm just wondering whether or not we're going to adjust something here just because we can, maybe. And if we could figure out how, we would. But since we can't figure out how, we're not going to. Anyway, that said, you've got a project laid out in front of you that you're really interested in getting done, or that you've been putting off. Now remember, if somebody else has told you can't do it, unless it's against karmic law, and in all fairness, if it's legally not acceptable, definitely don't do it. You don't need the hassle. But if anybody tells you just because they figure it's too much work, or it's a long shot, you've got your head in the clouds, absolutely. I mean, I got told one day, I got accused of by putting out these videos, I actually got a directed comment to me. Okay, that came in my email. I think it was my email, but it was direct to me. It wasn't done on the channel here. And I literally got accused of starting a cult. Okay, by telling people to get along with each other. To simply look at the fact that you're all very much the same. You're all right here, right now. And working together, we can make this a better world. Now, that's the message I came back to bring, the one that I am striving to spread to the entire world. And the person wrote me back, and they actually told me it was people like me that were causing the problem. Telling people to be nice to each other. I was trying to start a cult. Well, I got thinking about it, and like I said when it came out, which is a couple of months back now, like I said then, if asking people to be nice to each other, if encouraging them to treat each other equally, okay, if that's called starting a cult, then let's start a global cult. It's kind of like starting a pandemic where everybody smiles at each other, and that's the whole of the pandemic. Just somebody smiles back. There's a pandemic I can stand by. Okay, and rest assured, I don't smile as much as I probably could, but I run into complications. But the reality of it is this: if we focus on the negative, we are going to run into problems. When you're looking at opening a new business, you can absolutely look at it and go, oh, there's too much competition, I won't make it, I won't get ahead. Understand, the only difference between you and the major moguls is they've had better marketing and usually more time. Like, let's face it, Hudson's Bay Company in Canada has been here for 330 years now, I think, something like that. So it's got a little bit of a head start. You'd think they'd have figured things out, but they haven't. Okay, so regardless of the industry you're looking at, okay, a couple of things to keep in mind, and that is make sure that you understand the product, not necessarily the industry. The industry you'll learn as you go along, but the product that you're the type of business you're trying to open. Like, for instance, if you're planning on opening up a kitchen, if you're opening up a restaurant, absolutely either make sure you yourself know how to cook properly, or you know somebody that you can rely on to be there with you that does know how to cook properly. Okay, if you're planning on opening there's an ad out that I have a very big problem with. Now, this is just a personal problem with it. There is somebody out there that is saying, look, if you want to be a counselor, talk to me. And I'm thinking, if you're just teaching somebody counseling with the idea of making money at it, you're going to do a lot more damage than, in all likelihood, than if you actually take the time to do a lot of studying. Now, I've been doing this. I never took a course in it. As a matter of fact, in all fairness, I was told I'm not allowed. When I was a kid, it was made very clear I was not permitted to take any form of psychological training, as in taking psychology, any form of it. Okay, but that being said, I studied people, I watched the way people are behaving, and I compared it to the way I desire to be treated. Okay, and hence the issue of the second karmic law. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Now, what I came to the conclusion of was, if I treat people the way I desire to be treated, things will go a lot better. Well, net result, I very seldom get upset with people directly, except I have found a couple of places where I really do get upset, which annoyed me to no end, which also means I've got to figure out how to deal with it. But I digress. You've got your office sorted out so you can handle it. You've got your sign that tells you what kind of money that you require to run your house. That's your rent, your utilities, your groceries, your insurance, okay, your transportation. All of these things have to be covered. Now, that said, I keep this other sign over here that says, I am worth it. All of this work I do now, yes, it started out because of a bunch of people on Spaced Out Radio that said I should actually start putting the information out. Which reminds me, I've got to do another video today on that topic. But at this point, I actually don't feel my day has started right if I don't get these done. So I come out, and essentially what it boils down to for me is it boils down to a daily journal. Hence why I've called this the journey. This is the path I'm going through, and it will be fascinating in a year or so for me to look back and go, okay, how much have I changed? Or have I? Clearly the hair hasn't changed, but it probably needs a haircut. Which is really weird when you think about it, because for 10 years I never cut it at all. Right, it just grew this long and then stopped. which is fine from my standpoint. But once you've got an idea in your head of the type of business that you'd like, first things first, get your office straightened out so you can function in it. That is the most important. Now, the other thing is when we are talking about creating a business, creating a home environment, it's creativity. And as Gene Simmons, the head of an old rock band that many of you know, the head of Kiss, okay, as he put it, creativity is actually, it is not 90% inspiration and 10% perspiration. Creativity is 10% and 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Meaning, it only takes a moment to get this idea. Gee, I desire to write a book. Okay. Well, you get that idea, then you start the work. For me, it was real simple. Here's a storyline. The hard part was I got the storyline done and then couldn't get mobilized or wouldn't get mobilized. I think that's a much better way of putting it. But you get the idea. Once you've got the idea in your head, first and foremost, get your office sorted out so you can function in it comfortably. So that when you get up in the morning, you don't have to clear your desk off. The idea is you open your desk up, get the stuff out to start with that you're required to run your day, go through your day, do what you have to, and clear the desk, put it all away before you go to bed. So when you get up in the morning, you can come into the office. When you open the office up, you walk in, you're ready to go to work right then. Okay. You should, in all likelihood, if you organize it properly, you can have your office set up to be operational inside of 5 minutes of walking into it. Okay. That is a reasonable goal. Okay. If it's a kitchen, you're probably going to require a good hour to get up and running. But get your workspace, your office area set up so you can go to work. Okay. Now, when you do that, make sure that you're laying out the energy flow of it. Like I've got on this table, right, and I can't show you because, well, frankly, I don't have a camera that I can do that with. But on this particular table, I've got my computer and my extra monitor. I've got the printer over here, which one of these days I got a phone to get hooked up. And of course, an extended keyboard here. Now I've got a virtually empty desk here. Few pens at the back of it, right? And the rest of it is writing space, which is why I've got to get the left hand working properly. Now, once you've got that, and of course, the very important thing I found is get the garbage off the floor so that you're not running into it. Because there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than going to do something and having to cut your way through the floorboards. You know, if you've got kids, you know what it's like. You know, they leave the stuff all over the floor, and that's something that's got to be brought into control as well. But you get the office running properly. Now you're ready to go. Now take a look at that list that I was talking about. Now, I shifted things a little. This actually helps me keep track of the day of the week. Not the day of the week, but the day of the month. Because what I do is I put the date at the top of the list, and then I start working down a list, adding to it as I go. Okay, if I don't get everything done at the end of the day, I just simply stop, write down the next day, and start over. But I start over the next day with the ones I missed yesterday. Okay, and then you just carry on. But that way I can look at it and go, okay, I know what day of the week I'm working on. Now I don't keep those. Okay, once I'm done, once I get that page finished, it's gone. But it does help me keep on top of getting the little things done that come to mind as I'm going along. Once you've got that moving, now you can get to work. Now here's the thing with the business. You know what business how do you choose what business is best for you? Here's the easiest way I can put it. Did that because I'm trying to see the sign down here. Still haven't got my eyes working totally well all the time. But here's the thing. Okay, the way to pick the business for you is actually quite simple. You take a sheet of paper and write down the first 12 things that come to your heart that you enjoy doing. Doesn't matter what they are. Okay. If you enjoy having a cup of coffee first thing in the morning and that's one of the things that gets on your list, then absolutely write it down. Don't panic on it. We'll get to that. Okay. You write it down. You stop when you get to 12. Okay. And the reason for that is I'm hoping there's more than 12 things you enjoy doing. Check on, you go back through that list immediately. Check off the ones that help other people. Like, for instance, if you enjoy helping people find a good house to live in, that's real estate, obviously, real estate sales. If you enjoy cooking, you're dealing with cooking, you're dealing obviously with cooking. If you enjoy having coffee first thing in the morning, well, guess what? If you don't enjoy serving people coffee, a coffee shop is not necessarily the best option. Okay, but you put it on the list because when you're checking off things that you enjoy doing, and when you shortlist it, you check off the ones that will help other people. Now, you having a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, although it may make you more tolerable for other people to deal with, it doesn't really help them in any functional fashion. Okay, so it gets ignored. You check off the other ones. A massage is somebody that enjoys giving massages. That is one of those jobs one of those potential businesses that you check off as active. Then you take a look at the ones that you've got left, which should be probably 6 or 7 items. Okay, you take a look at those 6 or 7 items and ask yourself, which of these am I going to make? Can I make a living at? Now, an example of this would be real estate is great. It's highly competitive, but if you're trying to make a living at it and there's only 150 people in your town, the odds are you're not going to make it. Okay, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. It just means you take that into consideration. You're going to have to look at a bigger marketing area. But if you're working in a farming community and you enjoy giving massages, man, you could be doing very well very quickly. Because in case you hadn't noticed, farmers, regardless of what anybody says, are hard workers. Okay. Unlike many jobs, if you're not out in the field and working a long day, you're not going to make ends meet at all. So hats off to the farmers. You shortlist that the final time. You take that 6 or 7 that are left. You shortlist it to the ones that have enough potential clients to generate a stable income. And it'll be out of those 2 or 3 items that you choose which way you're going. Now, the reason you do it that way is this. You start with what you enjoy, then you work down to what makes money. In that way, you stand a lower chance of getting upset, of getting really bored with the company. Net result, you'll be able to do a better job of it. Net result, you make better money. Okay, now money is not the be all and end all, and rest assured, money is not the root of all evil. But money is a convenient thing to keep a roof over your head, to keep things moving. To put a roof over your head, food in your belly. Personally I use a fork and spoon, but that depends. But the reality of it is money is not the problem. Money is just a barter system. It is the mindset of greed that creates the problem. Hence, we have that neat little complication with this thing called legally minimum wage. Well, minimum wage is, in my opinion, set too low to live on. But most employers seem to go, I only have to pay you minimum wage, so I get to keep more of my money. Of course, they totally ignore the fact that if it wasn't for the employees doing the work, they wouldn't actually be making the money at all. Okay. Keep this in mind if you're looking at a business that is going to have employees. Okay. Now, these are just little bits and pieces. And absolutely, you have to understand every business has its own unique side to it, and every person has their own unique side to it. So if you've got questions on how to specifically lay out your company, okay, absolutely drop me a line below. I'll tell you what I can. I am not a professional. I've never been trained, but I have helped people take their businesses from pocket companies to international. Now you got to do the research. I do not do the research on numbers and what have you. Like I don't go and check. Well, how do you go about looking into import export? I just don't. Okay, that's up to you. But I will point out where what I see as the critical complications are. Okay, and again, if you've got something you'd like me to discuss on video, absolutely drop a line. This is why I ended up going into the business side of this for the moment. Okay, and I will be going into other venues as well. Okay. Oh, speaking of that, where it comes to to my house, I told you there was a bunch of other rooms, obviously, that I've got to deal with. Well, I've started straightening out the pantry at the same time, and part of it's already been done. But the reality, again, it boils down to getting the energy in your house running properly. That's the biggest factor right there. So you've got an idea of where you desire to go. When I come back tomorrow, and I'm going to end up making note of that right away. I'll wait till after I'm done, but so that I can write it with my left hand. Takes too much concentration just yet. But tomorrow, we're going to take a look and we're going to get you up and running. Okay, I'm going to watch the comments and see what comes up. But I'm going to take a look at it. We're going to walk through taking an idea and we're going to go to the field I'm very familiar with, which happens to be the writing side of it. That's the first one I'm going to deal with straight off the bat. Okay. Yeah, I've bounced around a little. I'm intending on being very, very focused to start dealing with things. I think that's the best road to go. If I change my mind, I'll let you know at the beginning of the video and in the write up below it. That said, I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.